Hey Mike, looks like we got a book here. What can you tell us about this book?
Well, this is a very interesting book, and it's a book that for many years eluded me. I was aware of the existence of this book, and I would go into used bookstores and go through the stacks, and of course I'd done that for most of my life, searching for Bigfoot books. And well, I spent at least 25 or 30 years attempting to find this book, and couldn't find it, just couldn't find it. And finally, I spotted one on eBay. And it's a great book. It was written back in '79. It was written by a man named Charles Edson, who was part Native American. And in this book, he talks about the fact that his Native American heritage enabled him to become friendly with some pure-blooded Native Americans, and he spoke with them about the Sasquatch, and they gave him advice. Eventually, not right away, but after a while, they were very helpful in helping him to discover Bigfoot and actually have his own Bigfoot event, where he had a sighting and so forth. And I'll show you in here. There's a photograph. This is one of the earlier books with, of course, it's a typical could be a guy in a suit type photo. It's way off in the distance and very hard to discern. What's interesting is this man. One of the things that shows in his writing is that he seemed a little bit PO'd with some of the people that he considered to be Johnny-come-latelys, people who only recently got involved in Bigfoot research, but were getting an awful lot of press coverage and an awful lot of credit for their Bigfoot research. And evidently, when he finally put this book together, he was kind of angry that they were stealing his thunder, because he felt like he was one of the earliest people involved in this, and didn't get enough credit for what he had done. He actually mentions in this book that he was at Bluff Creek when Patterson and Gimlin shot the film. He doesn't claim that he was actually there watching the film being shot, but he does claim that he was actually hiding in the brush and saw them ride by on horseback. So that would be an eyewitness who could corroborate the fact that there were just the two of them and nobody there to wear the costume, because he said there was just the two of them on their ponies going through the woods. So I would highly recommend this book to anybody that's interested. It's one of the more interesting books. And
Do you think the guy's telling the truth?
I think that the guy. What I think happens a lot of the time is that when people tell stories, they have a tendency to confabulate, where they take other stories that they've heard and add them to their own story to make the story a little more exciting. And I'm not saying the man's a liar, but I'm suggesting that his attitude and so forth may have had an effect on what he wrote, and may have led him to exaggerate. And I think that this happens quite often to Bigfoot witnesses. And of course, skeptics would point to that and say, see, you can't rely on eyewitnesses, you can't rely on these stories, because people make stuff up. Well, it's true, people do sometimes elaborate and make their stories get better over time by confabulating, by adding to the stories and all that. It's kind of part of the folk process. But just because this happens doesn't mean that these people didn't have a genuine event. And I really think that when skeptics use that to try and explain away all the eyewitness sightings and claim that they're all telling tall tales, that they're being very arrogant.